What is up? What is up? And welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Quick breaking news segment. As you see, Virgil Ortiz and Golden Boy Promotions have come to the agreement and are now back in the Virgil business. How is everybody doing today? I, of course, am your host, Matt Garces here, talking about radio. And what a great bit of news that we have here, guys. So this is something that we've really been looking forward to. So we're doing a quick breakdown here as we were moving stuff around. And ladies and gentlemen, joining me today to break all this down, the man that is currently up on Mike Coppinger's 6 rounds to 4 in terms of news from Fights ATW, ladies and gentlemen, Ed Gonzalez. How you doing?
Yo, Machine Gun Matt, what is the deal? Kind of programming right is nasty, right? Yeah. Hey, listen, I appreciate you having me on. I know this was last minute, kind of quick. Forgive me for that. We will definitely hook up on a more scheduled and longer basis. I got to take my son to slime class in
No,
about 25 minutes, so
it's absolutely
we're gonna
okay,
get
bro.
right into it.
There's, like I said, breaking news segment here. Yes, this was known, but it's now officially been announced. Abe, you got ahead of it a little in front of everybody. We're teasing this announcement. I remember during the Ryan and Tank buildup, they had the Mongolian mole. What do we call you? Because you've kind of been hands-on in this Golden Boy Virgil situation. What's
Yeah,
going on here, and what does this mean now for Virgil Ortiz, and when can
I
we see
mean,
him back?
listen, I think this is great news for Golden Boy. They really needed this like momentum. Got the Ryan fight across the line. Now they got the Virgil situation across the line. This is a beautiful thing. Like they are really focused and really getting things done. What does this mean for Virgil Ortiz right now? Obviously, he wants the Boots end his fight, and he mentioned so much that he said, and I'm gonna quote him here. Um, I'm excited to move forward and make the biggest fights happen, including the Ennis fight. My only focus is on delivering unforgettable fights for the fans, and I know my team and I will accomplish that together. So the Ennis fight obviously is the one that the majority of the people want.
Yes.
I'm sure that he wants that. The problem is that since he's been away, Ennis has gotten his stock up. He's gotten 2 titles. He got a big signature win that he probably needed to raise his profile even more. All in the while that Virgil was not doing anything. Not his fault. Whatever the situation is, I'm not going to point no fingers and nothing like that. Excuse me. But in short, he sat. He wasn't fighting. He wasn't doing anything. So now, and his stock rose up a little more. And he has the opportunity to fight. Now he's got to figure out what's next. Versus not because Buzzy already played hardball. Yeah, I mean, but look, Max. I mean, they can play hardball because they do have a little bit of leverage now, more leverage than they did before.
They have
So, like,
a ton of leverage. You're right, man.
yeah,
Just
yes,
so what would be the next move for Virgil Ortiz? And are we talking tune up? Are we even back at 154 pounds? Because like you said, he's just been sitting there.
yeah. So this is the thing. I think they're gonna aggressively go after the Ennis fight now. More than likely, they will give it like a window. So
Yes.
they're probably going to say, all right, if we can't get the Ennis fight done in the next, I don't know, week or two
Mm-hmm.
for like a fall date, then we're going to have to move forward and go with, him fighting, somebody at 154 or at a catch weight between 154 and 160, right? Because he's been sitting out for a little bit. That could possibly mean that he could fight on the Ryan card in September
Yeah.
if there's that opportunity, right? I would probably do that if they know that the end of this fight is just not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Hearn is going to play hardball, of course. He's already said, oh, that Josh Kelly's out there, and then Boots
Yes.
has been talking about Josh Kelly. Um,
I mean, because
If
after that performance with Xander, he's the new pay per view star at 154 pounds, depending on the success of Earl Spence Jr. come a couple weeks time, right? So,
yeah, I don't know if pay per view star. I would say,
but if you're
um,
looking at anybody that could sell pay per views, it's Boots and maybe Errol. That's about it.
yeah. I mean, I think he's just a more of a star. Period. Like
Hmm.
his stock as a fighter has definitely come up.
Yes.
That performance against Zayas definitely raised it a few notches, probably a little more than a few notches. So um, he's in the position to call the shot. Now I know he was throwing out Fundura's name. Fundura is not fighting Ennis or Ortiz this year. Like, let's forget about that. His
Hmm.
promoter Samson clearly put it out there that anything like that is not happening to 2027.
Right.
So let's just move on from that. I know people keep throwing Fundura. Boots is doing interviews throwing Fundura's name. Fundura is not doing that. It's not happening.
Yeah.
Let's just move on. It's either Kelly, Ortiz, or some random dude like maybe Brandon Adams or somebody like that. Um, but that's what I say that jokingly, but Brandon Adams is like number 2 or number 1 in the
Yeah,
WBO, so you never
ranked
know.
high. Yeah, he's ranked high. Going to the previous comment though for a Virgil or even a Boots. Now that the partnership with DAZN is there and the only person off limits is Tank, could you see them calling up Charlo and seeing if he's ready to come back? Throw him a bag.
Yeah, so I guess there's been conversations of Jamel fighting the winner of Zoo Spence,
Mm-hmm.
right? The only problem is that, or the question that has to be asked is the winner of Spence Zoo even fighting again this year?
I wouldn't think so. Not if it's Errol Spence. I don't think so. I think if it's Errol,
Exactly.
he doesn't come back till next year.
If it's Tim, I think he does.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you'd make that Jamel Charlo fight in the winter sometime. Maybe
Yes.
you make it. Maybe you make it as the co-main of Benavidez, Michalian, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be in November, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe you make it a co-main for that. That would be a nice little co-main, nice little card developing there. But if it's Spence, does he come back after being gone so long? Does he come right back within 5 months? I just don't see it. I don't
Yeah.
see it. So then what, right? The next biggest fight for Jamel Charlo would be a Virgil Ortiz fight.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Or would it be a Fundura fight for the first quarter of next year so that they kick the Boots or Virgil fight can even further down
I
the
can
road?
the Virgil fight because like as we're seeing now with boxing, because pay-per-views aren't selling in terms of what they used to be, but that would be a Virgil Charlo fight in Texas somewhere is a ticket seller like you want. That'll put butts in seats and do enough money for them to want to put it maybe on a pay-per-view or for sure on DAZN. Speaking of DAZN, while I have you real quick, Shakur Stevenson revealed that DAZN offered him a deal essentially to not promote him because they regularly can't because of the Ali Act, but they offered him a major deal to sign exclusively to DAZN. What could that have entailed, and how could they even have done that as they're not a promoter, they're a network? Can you break that down for me?
Yeah, so I guess it would have been something like what Teo signed. So Teo supposedly has a deal directly with the zone. Not supposedly, but I guess he does. He has a deal directly with the zone for like his takeover promotions and everything else. So it probably wouldn't be no different than fighters that signed to like directly to like HBO back in the day, or has signed to Showtime back in the day. They weren't necessarily promoters, but they were signed to that network exclusively.
Yeah, but the difference with this though is now that like you said, Tio at least has his own promotional company, right? Shakur Stevenson does not. Who else would they have offered a deal like this to? If they're really just trying to, it seemed like counterbid Zuffa boxing essentially to keep him away from there. Who else would they be willing to throw a deal to like that? Could it be like a
Yeah,
Devin Haney type of fighter, or are they just trying to secure whatever name they can?
yeah, I think potentially a Devin Haney type of fighter as well. But you know what? The one thing that I want to remind folks is that because I've seen some posts where they say, "Oh, it's the zone versus Zuffa," but is it really if the Saudis have investments in both?
True, true. I mean,
It's
they're investors in both. They hold stocks in both, and they have the what I labeled the center of the street in the deal with Netflix. So, and this is another name because PBC made their deal with DAZN with Tank Davis off limits. Could it just be an exclusive deal with Tank Davis so they can make all those fights finally, or at least 1 to 2 major fights?
yeah, I mean, again, we can see where I think somebody, I can't remember who it was, somebody said that Sugar Ray had an exclusive deal with I think it was like CBS or NBC back in the
Mhm.
day, and I think Tyson was exclusive to
He
a
was one of the
network.
first with Showtime, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah. And so, you know, those things have happened in the past. We just hadn't seen them with streaming platforms. And now that streaming platforms is, I mean, we're seeing this almost turn a 360 back to like cable TV, basically.
Yeah,
you
right back
know,
to what they used to call cable.
yeah, like, they got commercials, they got this, they got that. I mean, we're basically right back into cable TV again, but in different platforms. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's where we at with it. At the end of the day, and circling back to the first topic, Virgil Ortiz, I'm just
Mhm.
glad that he is back, to where he can fight again. It's no good to have fighters on the shelf not doing anything. A
Right.
guy like Virgil Ortiz, an exciting fighter, he people understand who he is, what he brings to the table.
Mhm.
These are the guys that we need to see in the biggest fights possible.
Yeah. So, and before I let you go here, they made the big announcement, like I said, and we kind of teased it and speculated it ourselves. Did they give any leads to as when Virgil Ortiz would possibly come back? Is there even an opponent in the work, a real opponent, not just the boots that we want, but like, hey, they got a couple names in mind that they'll throw in there with the Virgil for when he does come back?
Yeah, so to be honest with you, I think that they made this announcement, but with already them working really quickly to try to secure something, because they're not stupid. They know that once you drop this type of news, the momentum is going to be there for a little bit, but you have to stay on top of it. The only way you can do that is by,
And I,
capitalizing and announcing a fight, or announcing that something will be announced. It'd be like, oh yeah, we're gonna have something before the end of the month or something. Now, if I had to guess, let me see, what's today's date?
today is the 17th of
17th,
July.
right? I would expect that Virgil Ortiz is on TNT Sports booth podium, with Chris Mannix and them, and he say something.
Hmm.
Whether that's I'm fighting Boots Ennis, or my return. We couldn't work
I'm
it out
back
with
on
Boots.
the day. Yeah.
I'm gonna be back in September or in October.
Right.
I'm expecting something like that to happen. If they don't do that, it's a missed opportunity. But
Hmm.
if they do that, hey, you heard it here first on Match Show.
Yes, sir. Hearing it, breaking news, doing quick segments like this is what I love. I really, really appreciate you coming on. Give out your socials. I'll post all this back up on Twitter and X. We did this real quick breaking news segment, guys. Shout out again to you, Abe. Let them know where they can find you and where they can read all the publications you're posting.
Yeah, man. FightsATW.com, at AbeG718 on X, Instagram, at AbeGBoxing on YouTube, and AbeG718 on TikTok. I appreciate you, Matt, for having me. I know it was super last minute. It was quick, but definitely hit me up to have a broader discussion on multiple topics, and we'll hit it and we'll go from there.
Absolutely. Again, the man that is up 6'4" on commentary, breaking news. Your move, Mike. Ladies and gentlemen, Abe Gonzalez.
Yeah, I
Appreciate you,
appreciate
bro.
you, man. All
Appreciate
right,
you.
peace.
Yes, yes. Alex, what is up in the chat? Hanging out. You got Paramount is buying Warner Bros. Warner owns TNT. TNT is working with DAZN. DAZN integrates with USA. Weighing into Paramount, Zuffa gains absolute power, which is, bro, you've learned the scheme, baby. I'm glad you're picking up all the information they're putting down. But, ladies and gentlemen, that was our breaking news segment with Abe G from Fights ATW. Go ahead and check him out. We will post his link in the chat. We're gonna have a quick, brief pause for a second, and we're gonna come right back. We'll put that link in the chat if you guys do want to join up, because we're gonna break down what we just heard. We're also gonna break down what we saw over the weekend with Conor McGregor, and looking forward to this weekend with a quiet weekend with Diego Pacheco, who hasn't been super entertaining in the past few fights he's had. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, I will be right back. Quick pause here as the studio finally decided to set itself up and let me use it to work. But we got that interview off again. Shout out to Abe Gonzalez again. Guys, Fights ATW. Go click on the website. He has been ahead of the news. He's been right there with your favorites on news. We'll be right back. Yo, what up? Y'all got me? Yes, excellent. What is up? What is up? What is up? Okay, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the show. Again, I really appreciate Abe coming through, talking about radio to break the news, honest to God. Because, like I said, he has been ahead of it. And let me get through these comments that we missed, guys. Again, thank you for tuning in. We saw a good number of people live. Pulled the Hulk Hogan. Yeah, I counter programmed him. But yeah, I sure did. I counter programmed Mario and I gave away his finish. Yeah, we're live, baby. He's live to tape. I'm live in the moment. He's taped. Preempted. Yeah, again, yeah. If Tim Zoo wins, absolutely. He'll be back. He'll be the first one out there. If Errol Spence Jr., I imagine Errol Spence wouldn't come back till next summer. No matter how he looks or not, Errol Spence Jr. probably won't be back until next summer. So I agree. But yeah, man, it was a good interview. I really appreciate Abe. I'm about to repost all this stuff. I will be back here in a few minutes because we're gonna set up our secondary show. I just wanted to do the breaking news. Mel is the lineal ring magazine champion at 154 pounds. A fight with that for anybody being Ortiz and Boots would be great. Obviously, we talked about his tank. What's up, guys? She's finally fighting for it. Wow, she's fighting for Pro Box. That's awesome. That's dope. That's good to see, guys. And then obviously we got to Alex's comment on Paramount being linked with all the companies in between. But again, shout out to you guys. I will be back. Well, no, we'll keep it here for a second. But I'm gonna break some stuff down. We'll be back. We're gonna break down our McGregor situation. We're gonna look forward into the NFL season. We're gonna break down why wasn't the MLB All Star watchable. I feel like it was nothing that it happened and I missed it, is what I feel like, But we'll break all that down soon. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, shout out to Abe for coming on, breaking that news. Peace.